To the average grappler, the sport of wrestling is a way of life. For Kutztown University heavyweight Ziad Haddad, it was his salvation. After a long road back to the mat, Haddad finished with a record of 25-0 and won the national championship at the heavyweight class. When his dream finally came to fruition, he felt a multitude of feelings about it.
You know, it was a feeling of a mixture of feelings. It was, you know, celebration, satisfaction, relief. You know, a little bit of relief. You know, when you work so hard for something, and you finally get there, it is sweet. You know, and it doesn't just have to be athletics. You know, other people experience it in different facets of life, but it's definitely a sweet feeling, you know, getting to the pinnacle and looking down at where you came from. It's a sweet feeling.
It was a long journey to the top for Haddad. After finishing 39-0 and winning a state championship his senior year at Bethlehem Catholic, Haddad enrolled at Division I powerhouse North Carolina. But after a number of questionable decisions off the mat, Haddad ended up dropping out of school, and a return to the mat seemed like nothing more than a pipe dream. But Kutztown University head coach Rob Fisher looked past Haddad's mistakes and took a chance with the former state champ.
You know, it's a risk no matter who we recruit. You never know exactly what you're going to get, but if there's some issues in the past and, you know, you are taking a risk, but, you know, we weigh those risks. We talk to the student athlete, we talk to Z, we you know, talk to other people that knew him, and once I started doing some research, I was real confident in our decision to bring him along.
Well, he gave me the opportunity. Coach Fisher gave me the opportunity, and without opportunity, you can't do anything. You know, a lot of people experience that on a day-to-day basis. You have skills or you have this, but you need the opportunity. He was my door. He opened the door for me, and I stepped through.
Haddad fully committed himself in practice and in the weight room, knowing it would be a daunting task to get back into wrestling shape. Haddad knew he had to dedicate himself both mentally and physically in order to return to competition.
It was extremely hard. I not only had to make a commitment to my physical body, but also my mental and spiritual. So getting back into shape, it took 3 different commitments: mental, spiritual, physical. You know, and you had to train. You had physically had to train your body. I had to train my body. Mentally, I had to want it. You know, because there's times when you can say, you know, I wanted to try to win a national title, but then actually mentally believing that was challenging at times. Putting your body through some things. And then spiritually, you know, you just sort of have to step out on the mat and believe that you're the best and you're going to get the job done.
Haddad pushed himself beyond his limits in practice, but if he ever needed an extra push, his teammate, sparring partner, and friend Danny Ortiz was always there to keep him on track.
Danny he's one of the truest friends you'll ever meet in life. You know, when somebody wants something to happen for you more than they want it to happen for themselves, those are the people you keep around. And those are the people you hold close to you. Those are your true friends, those are your family members, you know, and that's Danny.
I have to push him when he stops. So it's not that I push him hard, I push him past where he decides he wants to kind of slow down and not keep going.
Assistant coach Chris Belanca is often seen working closely with Haddad to sharpen his technique.
I try to push him as hard as I can. He pushes himself about as hard as he needs to, though. There are times when I have to encourage him to do some extra, but 99% of the time, he's the guy pushing to do extra on his own.
You know, Coach Belanca doesn't get enough credit for what he's done, you know, and helped me throughout. He doesn't get enough credit, and you know, he pushed me when I didn't want to be pushed. You know, he pushed me when I was having a bad day, and you know, he just you know, he knew how important it was for me to achieve what I achieved last year, for the program and for our school, you know, and he was going to make sure that I got there.
Haddad admits that wrestling not only reshaped him as an athlete, but as a person as well.
Wrestling builds character. There's no way to slice it differently. There's something about shaking somebody's hand and going like a mano-a-mano type of situation where it's one man versus one man. I mean, there is no comparison there.
Ziad Haddad's national championship is the climax of his redemptive journey back to the sport he loved. And this reassures the coaching staff that they made the right decision in adding him to the program. Coach Fisher especially is incredibly proud of Haddad's resolve.
Incredibly proud. Not only, you know, what he's been able to accomplish on the mat for us, but in life in general. To achieve the biggest prize there is in our sport, yeah, I'm like a proud father when it comes to Ziad.